To really understand what a Pittsburgh Steeler is, you have to understand the history.
Pittsburgh Steeler, to me it means more. I grew up in Pittsburgh watching those early teams. It really means a blue-collar guy that's going to run to the fight.
Pittsburgh Steelers been defined a long time ago.
First round selection, Joe Green, G-R-E-E-N-E.
Smart, tough, physical, passionate, just like the city.
It might take me a couple days to answer. Pittsburgh Steelers are guys that football is important to. To be a Steeler requires someone who has a desire to be great and to win championships.
That's how you be great!
I think the definition of a Pittsburgh Steeler was best summed up by Troy Polamalu.
To be a Steeler is to consider others before you consider yourself. The only approval any Steeler should seek is to earn the approval from previous legends who have donned the black and gold. And if you've really earned their respect, they'll say, you could have played with us.
Selfless teammate, guy you can rely on, when adversity hits, which it is going to happen in this league. A guy you can count on.
The Alan Fanekas, Joey Porters, Troy Polamalu's, Jerome Bettis, Dermontti Dawson. A lot of those guys were here when I was an intern. The team guys they were, and the mental and the physical toughness that they had, and how they approached it, and it was all about the team.
In our evaluations, we'll say that, and I'll say that, this is a Pittsburgh Steeler. That's mental toughness, that's physical toughness, that's passion, that's a love for football, which is just when growing up here as a kid, that's what I grew up watching, and that's what we're trying to find.
Pittsburgh Steelers select Ben Roethlisberger,
Cameron Hayward,
Alan Faneca,
Rod Woodson, T.J. Watt,
Lynn Swan,
Troy Polamalu.
The more you find of those guys, the better your opportunity, the better chances you're going to have at winning another Super Bowl.
Good afternoon. Certainly disappointing to be conducting this business today. I don't view it as misfortune, to be quite honest with you. Particularly at this level in this business and game, there's football justice. You get what you deserve, and so, we're here for really tangible reasons.
For all of its buildup, the NFL season flies by. The August heat giving way to the fall breeze.
It's been said that the journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. Tonight at Acrisure Stadium, the Steelers take that first step.
5 months in the blink of an eye.
That is career sack 100. Good job. In trouble. Now it's picked off. Lincoln Fitzpatrick.
For those wanting more, the moment a champion is crowned, it all starts again. Beginning here in Mobile, Alabama.
To me, I personally like the Senior Bowl because these guys, it's your last time really seeing them in pads. At the combine, they're in their shorts, jumping, you can see how they run, it kind of verifies what you thought they would be as a tester. But this, guys want to come here and compete.
The Senior Bowl has bred competition since its inception in 1950. And over the past 76 years, the Steelers have put an emphasis on the event each offseason.
We have everybody here, and Coach Tomlin comes down, and the coaches will come down, and we just spend so much time because we understand the overall value of what the Senior Bowl brings us. These are the best players, in college football. They're going to win reps, they're going to lose reps, and it's just great to be able to see how they respond.
When you start the process, in the fall, the funnel starts out here. And in the offseason, it kind of helps us narrow down our focus. The guys that we identify as Pittsburgh Steelers, as we talked about.
It's a chance for scouts to see players that maybe they haven't scouted already in the fall. It's an opportunity for us to see them compete in some unique matchups and situations. So you get to see some, high-level one-on-one matchups. And then you also get the added bonus of getting to talk to them.
There's guys that you really like through the fall, and you really can see that projection into becoming, the next great Pittsburgh Steeler.
By the end of the 2024 NFL Draft, there had been 110 players who participated in the 2024 Senior Bowl who were drafted.
Yeah.
That's basically everybody.
It's basically the whole roster, right? Yeah.
Not a coincidence.
Right.
Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan are at the Senior Bowl.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there used to be a handful. Like, I went to the Hula Bowl when I was with the Browns.
Yeah.
And there were a high percentage of those guys were drafted, but it's nothing like the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl is the king.
I really feel we place high value on this.
Each scout will have a position that they're in charge of looking at. So they really do become an expert on the players at that position. There's checks and balances within the system, and that's kind of the beginning of that process.
We're going to watch the practice live and get as many observations as we can get, and then we get the film, and we just grade the film. You can't see everything when you're watching it go live, so having the opportunity to watch that film, we create a grade, for that player for that week, do an evaluation, and then we rank them.
The days are filled with 2 practices. The evenings with interviews, all in an effort to find out everything they can on the prospects. Pittsburgh has an all-hands-on-deck approach from all the way at the top.
Coach Tomlin's got such an incredible ability to get down on the field and give a different perspective when we start to talk about, what our observations are from the Senior Bowl.
Coach Tomlin's involvement in the process is awesome. He's been instrumental in my development as an evaluator. It's very unique to have a coach that gets that excited about this process. The feedback that he's able to give us from ground level is really invaluable, and he provides it in a way that only Coach Tomlin can provide it.
Just little different details that maybe we don't see or we're not involved in, and just his overall perspective on what those players are. His ability to connect with players, down on the field, just adds an incredible amount of value to what we're doing, in the course of this entire week.
The Senior Bowl is the first lap around the off-season track. A 4-month process to change over your roster that would make a pit crew proud. The checkered flag isn't out until April, but the next lap passes through Indianapolis.
Good to see all you guys here. I'll just touch on last year real quick. Obviously, it was disappointing. The way we ended was unacceptable. We know we have to be better, and people expect better. We expect better, and that can't happen again. And, I'm just as disappointed as everyone else. Obviously, you're 10-3. You're naturally going to feel good. I mean, you guys all did. The fan base did, and, felt good. We made a couple trades down there, and those trades were made with the intent of helping us down the stretch and get to the playoffs and win playoff games and, achieve our ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl. From the moment the season ended, we've been preparing to get to this point. The guys have been finishing their reports, getting some background information, continuing to update some of the stuff that they captured in the fall. A lot happens here, and there's a lot to gain here. I love the opportunity to interview players at night in the formal interviews, and I love the fact that our scouts and our assistant coaches have the opportunity to participate in the informal interviews to get to know guys and identify if these guys truly are what we were looking for.
What the NCAA did in 2020 was they ruled that season would not count towards eligibility. All those players who got the extra year of COVID eligibility, they're up in this draft class. We graded, I think, 600 players that went back to school last year that are now in this year's draft class. So that's really unique. It's kind of unheard of in the history of what we've done. There's certain positions that have better depth than they historically have.
The thing that I really enjoy, I think is really important, is the interviews and getting to know the players that we're able to interview there, the time you get to spend with them, the different personalities, the different paths that these players have made, how they've gotten to the combine, to that invite. It's always amazing. I think from that, you really start to hone in on who the Steelers are.
Job interviews don't come more public than this. tests of strength, agility, and speed, all while thousands of eyes peer from the stands and countless more watching from home.
That's got to be a great feeling, not only to run fast, but when you can hear the audible oohs and ahs.
For the scouts, it's another chance to gather the all-important nugget on a prospect.
The guys that work out, does their testing match up with what you see on tape in terms of their change of direction, agility, speed?
I'm just trying to gauge how athletic the player is, so you want to look from the bottom up. You know, how quick are his feet? Are his ankles flexible? Can he bend his knees? Can he drop his hips? Are his hips tight in and out of breaks laterally? Can he frame the ball outside of his body? Does he have good hands?
Do they attack the workout and then movement-wise? You know, how do they move around? Is there fluidity, explosiveness, all those things, hand coordination?
And just generally, does it look smooth? Does he look fast? Does he have a burst? Does it look better than others? You know, we have historical numbers on all those players, so it helps us put them into a certain context versus past years and this year. It's a chance for us to get information on their medical background. It's a chance for us to get to know them as players. So it is really important.
How many combines is this for you, Andy?
I think this is 27. 1999 probably was my first one. I was an intern here.
How many now for you?
I think I'm one ahead of Andy because he was our intern in '99, and my first full year was '98.
It's changed a lot.
Oh, it's evolved so much. Coming from the Dome, the facility we're in now, which is a great facility, the TV coverage, the social media coverage, it's grown so much.
I remember being in Indiana, coming up, getting the paper pass. You can get the paper pass and sneak into the Dome.
I remember some of the older scouts back then, they talked about televising the combine, and they were so pissed off. They were kind of like, oh, that's going to ruin it and all this kind of stuff.
Right? Never. That'll never happen.
Right.
It just used to be at the Crowne Plaza when you had your interviews. You grab a player and run them in your room before somebody else grabs them.
Yeah.
Wild, wild,
I remember when I was an intern, we had David Boston, Torrey Holt, and I was an intern, and I was able to get David Boston and took him in like the hallway away from everyone and got him into our room to interview with Coach Cowher. That was like a win. As an intern, you're like, yeah, it's a win.
Right.
You know?
Right.
We were able to get him in to interview him. So
I just remember my first couple years doing the weigh-ins when weigh-ins were public, and we'd have to get up early and fight for seats to basically get. That's one of my early memories when I was with the Bills.
Sending interns down.
Sending
like
interns.
The crack of dawn. Waiting for the gate to open.
Waiting for the gate to open. And it was
like the running of the bulls to get the front row.
Yep. I was like a rite of passage back in the day. But Kevin was with ESPN too.
Oh,
and he could not get into the Dome. He worked for Todd McShay. That's how our brother Kevin got in. He used to have to sit in his hotel room, and I would come up from Indiana University and help him type weigh-ins into the thing as they would stream across the TV.
We'd watch the workout.
We'd watch the workout from the hotel room because media didn't have access to it. And now that's completely changed too.
The Combine has gone through a lot of change. But what hasn't is the Steelers' appreciation for family. And that admiration has extended to another football family from the South Hills of Pittsburgh.
So in the Whittle household, there is 4 boys in our family. Me and Andy make up the bookends. Andy's the oldest, I'm the youngest. Kevin, 8 years younger than Andy, he works for the Baltimore Ravens, area scout for them. And then our other brother, who's 4 years younger than Andy, he works for IT here in Pittsburgh. 16 years straight, though, was a Whittle in the Malavan High School. When one graduated, one entered as a freshman.
Whether it's playing sports in the backyard, in the driveway, anything in the house, games we played, whether it be a Sega Genesis or any kind of board game, it was always competitive and fun, whether it was playing, with us or other kids in the neighborhood. We're always playing sports and always competing. Friends over the house too, guys.
Oh yeah, our mom loved to cook for them.
Backyard football games, basketball in the driveway.
Kevin bit his tongue the one time.
Yeah, there was many trip to St. Clair Hospital.
St. Clair Hospital.
Quite a few of those, and he was the one I think that had the most trips.
Yeah, he had a lot.
Number 51, Kevin Whittle.
Well, football was just, we grew up in Mount Lebanon, and it was big. It was a great program, and I remember going to games when I was in grade school. My dad took me to one of the first games, a night game up there. You know, it was the first time seeing it. You know, just grew up following it, and then I played in high school, and my brothers came to my games, and then we would go to each other's games.
Every sporting event, you know, whatever it was, I was at Andy's, I was at Kevin's, I was at Brennan's. You know, my dad would put me in the car. I was 6 years old. We'd go to Villanova for the day. On Saturdays, you know, Friday nights were Mount Lebanon for my other brother.
When I was at Villanova, I'd come home and see my brother play here. My brother Kevin, they won the Whitfield Championship in one of the last games played at Three River Stadium.
Field goals in the whole season. Oh, snap! He's going to throw the ball. Intercepted. No. Bounces around. Oh, I don't believe it.
It's just been a kind of a way of life for us growing up.
One of my early memories of football, too, I was at the AFC Championship game against the Colts. When that Hail Mary went up, I couldn't see. I was really little. I was standing on the thing, and I thought he caught it. I thought he caught that Hail Mary when the ball dropped and the referees, no.
Yeah, rolled over.
No. That's what I remember. I just remember being a kid and I couldn't see it. I just saw the crowd's reaction.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
I went to a game at Pitt Stadium. It must have been '69 because Joe Green was there. I just remember my uncle turning back and looking at me and saying, wow, this guy is really good. I think the biggest memory was the immaculate reception.
Bradshaw running out of the pocket, fires it downfield, and there's a collision. It's caught out of the air.
I turned my chair face away from the field. I was so pissed off. And all of a sudden my mom goes, look, Dan Franco has the ball. And I burst into tears. It was the most craziest play or whatever I've ever been at.
That's awesome.
I think the first game I went to was the Steelers versus the Baltimore Colts. And I think I was 5 or 6 years old, and it was snowing. I was sitting in the lower bowl. I remember Mom's like, you better wear 2 pair of socks. And I think John Stallworth had a big day. I just remember him making a couple of catches and the crowd going crazy, and the Steelers won that day. But that, and then going to training camp when I was young. My dad and my uncle were standing on the hillside with him, and the first 2 guys I saw come down the hill were Jack Lambert and Joe Green. You remember certain images, they stick with you. That's one you don't forget. They had those old cloth training camp jerseys.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I mean, they just looked, they're bigger than life. And that to me just, those are 2 memories I remember growing up that really stuck with me along the way.
Football didn't just stick for the Weidels.
Go Steelers!
It became the profession for 3 of the brothers, a feat they don't take lightly.
When I think about us 3 boys in the NFL, the one word that comes to my mind is blessed. To us, we understand that it's a privilege and you got to earn it every day.
You look at them, and I'm proud of them and what they're doing and how they've carved their own path in this business and how they're doing. And just, I'm proud of the work ethic and the people they are. And I think those moments, like the Senior Bowl and the Combine, we're able to get together. Actually, we stay at the same hotel. We see each other there quite a bit.
We were going to have breakfast here with Kevin, but last minute he had to go. D-line is his cross-check, so he went down to the D-line weigh-ins today. So, usually Kevin's with us to have breakfast. It's almost our tradition here.
You get to catch up, and sit down, have a meal, and talk and catch up on life. And it's like you look forward to it every year. You mark your calendar by it, and changes that are happening in the league and whatnot in people's lives. You catch up and chance to really connect even more so.
The way I observe Kevin on the road, because I'm a scout and I'm out on the road, and he works his tail off. This guy's unbelievable, and Andy is just really incredible with our draft preparation, building this thing up to where we're at. And it's obviously here throughout the year, any life situation, the hard workers are the ones that get it done. And that we're blessed to have 2 of them here, and it's been fun as human beings, but it's been rewarding as the guys that work and put in the time for us.
It's a privilege to be part of this organization. It's the gold standard of gold standards, in our opinion, growing up and being here and having the chance to work for other teams, really good teams. But to have the opportunity to come here and win a Super Bowl at some point, that, like I said, that's the fire. That's what drives us here, man. And that's what we want to do, and just be part of it and be a part of history together.
to me, it just means more, you know, growing up in Pittsburgh, you know the standards, you know the Rooney family, you know, for us, obviously family's huge for us, and to now get to know the Rooneys, and it just drives us more because this town loves football. This town wants a winner, and for us that drives us every day to, you know, bring a winner home here. So for us to win a Super Bowl here would be incredible, and we plan to.
With the Weidels' help, the Steelers intend to build that winner. And with free agency looming, the first blocks are being laid.
Omar's been extremely aggressive, and again, I appreciate that because, you know, it shows that, hey, what's happened and what has been happening, you know, the idea is to win a Super Bowl, and sometimes you got to be aggressive to win that Super Bowl, and Omar Khan has been aggressive.
More breaking news on the night before free agency begins. DK Metcalf is headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The big thing that the Steelers did this offseason was acquiring DK Metcalf.
Oh, love it. Perfect.
Oh, what a catch made by DK Metcalf. Oh, my goodness.
The DK Metcalf acquisition, I think he is the best position player to have changed teams in this offseason.
When the trade first happened, the first thing that went through my mind was just filled with excitement that I think it's just a fresh start, a new beginning, you know, just for me to showcase my talents in another city, especially in another fan base. I thought back to meeting me and Coach Tomlin had at the 2019 Combine, and, you know, just being in the league and going up to him before or after a game, and he, you know, kept that same, you know, rapport with me, and, you know, just felt like the right decision for me.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Nothing but respect for you, man. Keep living. Yes, sir.
When you look at what he's going to bring to the Steelers, when you have him on one side and George Pickens on the other, there's a safety within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. When the Steelers snap the football with those two guys on the field, I'll be shocked.
He's got Metcalf. Touchdown, Seattle.
I think this passing attack can be the best in the league, in my opinion. George Pickens is an unbelievable talent. Just can't wait to line up, you know, across from, you know, me learn from him learn from me, whatever the case may be. But, you know, just excited to get things rolling.
I think it's a huge acquisition for the Steelers. When you look at what they did defensively, you know, I do think that they've gotten better on that side of the ball as well.
Intercepted, Darius Slay.
I got a lot of respect for Mike T. I've been hearing it from a distance, as in guys just telling me how amazing this organization is and how great of a coach he is. So it's gonna be fun.
I think Darius Slay still has something left in the tank. You saw that last year with the Philadelphia Eagles on his way to the Super Bowl. And I think he's a nice complement to what they have with Joey Porter on the other side, because he's been Joey Porter before in his career. He's been a guy who has traveled with the other team's top wide receivers.
I just try to strive myself to be the best. Me being the best is just helping younger guys too as well, and helping them mentor and get better as they possibly can. You know, I'm here for be a sponge, you know, and I want nothing but the best. And my goal for always, the younger guys I be with, is done to be way better than I ever was, because, you know, that's how you just build legacy.
The fact that he has worked with Terrell Austin in the past, I think they'll understand each other. Terrell Austin will know his strengths, his weaknesses. He'll know what Terrell is asking from him.
Playing for TA has always just been amazing. He's been a great coach. You know, he got me at a young age, so he kind of like a father figure role. He gave me my first and my only All-Pro right now. Hopefully I'll do another one this year.
I just think that this team has done a nice job of acquiring talent in this offseason.
Gotcha. Awesome, man. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all, man. Enjoy the day.
As free agents find a new home, scouts hit the road. By mid-March, pro days reach a fever pitch.
Pro day season's definitely busy. I think I went to about 10 pro days. It's what we signed up for. I love it. I'm used to it. It's another chance to watch them compete, get to move them around. It's one final exposure. We get to see what kind of shape they're in. It's a cool experience. I like to see them in their home environments and just to see them interact and you know, cheer on their teammates too. The scouting process, it's 50% evaluation and 50% knowing the person. We're making investment in these guys. We want to make sure that their culture fits, that they're going to make the city of Pittsburgh proud. We want good people to represent this organization. It's a huge group effort, and it all comes together in a very cool way.
I'm just really appreciative of the work that our scouting department under the leadership of Omar and Andy Weidel, the work that they do over the course of a 12-month calendar. We as coaches kind of get on the moving train, if you will, but man, we got a really good foundation in terms of our knowledge of this group.
Depending on each draft, they're all different. Sometimes you got to be aggressive in the draft, sometimes the draft comes to you.
It's a great feeling because you just put in, I can't imagine the hours, and to see the fruition of what you get is a great feeling.
We try to play out every different scenario that can happen beforehand so that it's not too hectic on draft day.
You know, it's one of the times of year, the draft, free agency, and the cut down date and trade deadline that you can really improve your team, and the draft really is the main one here.
We've always just been concerned about, having our board stacked the way that we like it and to just let the chips fall and see what happens.
Basically everything you've done tied in a boat, and it is a good feeling to basically come to an end here and find guys that are Pittsburgh Steelers.